Good morning, family. This is Reginald Kuakaru. I'm founder of Kemetic Centered Living, and I am here this morning with Dr. Sheron Brown, and she is one of our newer members here at the community, but she came in like gangbusters, man. So we have a leaderboard in our community, and this lady like went straight to the top. So I'm like, man, everybody's like, who is that? Who is that? You know? But the thing is she presents such a beautiful energy, and I've had other people talk about her and how the energy that she presents to us, and that leaderboard represents somebody that's active and somebody that is practicing the principles and somebody that's doing the work. So, Sharon, can you talk a little bit? Excuse me, Dr. Sharon. I need to make sure that I say that because you have earned that.
Thank you. Thank you.
You bet.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for this opportunity to share my story. Yes, when I discovered KCL, I was like, what's this? And I was all in. Didn't even know there was a leaderboard at first. Once I discovered there was a leaderboard, you see, I posted, look, I'm on the
leaderboard.
Right. And so now every day I check, where am I on this board? But yeah. I
do that too, but I don't get the points. So
oh, right. Because it wouldn't be fair because you're running the board.
Right.
Yeah. So I am originally from Brooklyn, New York. My family is from Jamaica. All my family, mother, father, uncles, everything.
Okay. I love Jamaica. Visited Montego Bay years ago. Loved it.
Okay. And I lived there very briefly. Like I think from like 1 to 5 or something like that.
Okay.
But I basically grew up in Brooklyn, and I grew up Christian. I went on to move out to the DC area where I went to my HBCU, Howard, HU, you know.
All right.
And then I eventually, as far as career is concerned, I went into the field of education. I was there for about 20 years. And then I switched over to health and wellness because something about health and well-being was drawing me into it. And so that's a quick overview of me. What more do you want as far as my background?
Okay. Now we can go from there. So you said that you were in the educational field. So what did that mean specifically? Were you a teacher, or what were you doing in the education?
I was a reading teacher. I mean, I had so many titles. I was a school improvement coordinator. I eventually became a principal, and then I became a leader in a network of charter schools in the District of Columbia. Then from there, I jumped over, still in K-12, but in a mid-sized nonprofit that focused on developing coaches and teacher leaders. So that's
okay.
Yeah.
So now you do have your Ph.D. Did you get your Ph.D. in relation to your educational field? How did that come about?
Yeah, so I got my PhD. It's weird because I like to say I got it from my mother, but now I'm realizing I got it from my ancestors. Like the more I'm learning my ancestral history, the more I'm thinking that, because my mother, she didn't pass 6th grade, and so that's why I said to myself, I want to go as far in education as I could go. For my mom.
Mm-hmm.
But that said, it was in professional studies and education. And I like to say, like, that's the liberal arts of PhDs because you get to create what you want your program to be. And I wanted to understand how people learn. And I wanted to understand the brain science behind how learning happens, and how you can help people transform as a result of how their brains work. So that's what my PhD is in.
Okay. Man, awesome. So let's talk about your journey. Okay. So talk about your journey from basically you grew up Christian, and then your journey to now you're into the more spiritual, Kemetic spirituality and stuff like that. So take us through that. You know, the highs and the lows, the good, the bad, the ugly, all of that.
Well, I'm gonna tell you. All right, so let's go back. It really started like teenage years. The whole, I'm a thinker, I'm an analytical person, and I'm that kid that was always asking, but why? But why? But why? Even now as an adult, people are like, dang it, Sheron, stop asking me why.
The one that make adults mad.
Yes. So it never really made sense. I didn't want to go to church because it didn't make sense. My mother had to like negotiate with me. I said, well, if I go to church, I want to go to my friend's church because I at least wanted to hang out and have fun, right? And so she's like, fine, as long as you go to church. So like I said, it started there. But then I was always like, I would be reading the Bible. And because I have a Jamaican background, I would be looking at other things. And one of the first things I started looking at was Rastafarianism. I'm like, well, maybe this makes more sense, so maybe like in my
what didn't make sense about the Bible to you? What was off about it? Or just Christianity in general? What was off about it for you?
So as I got older, more and more didn't make sense. But back then it was simple stuff like, well, how you turn water into wine with your finger? That I don't understand that. And how come we can't?
How did you what now?
How you turn water into wine with your finger?
Okay.
I just figured, I've always pictured Jesus going, boop. And it's like, well, it don't work like that. So how did he do that? Or how did he walk on water? Like, this doesn't make any sense. And why would all these things just happen once in the whole history of man and not again? I'm gonna tell you what else didn't make sense. Out of all there are 8 billion people on the earth right now, right? So I don't know how many were in the past and how many are coming in the future. But how only 144,000 people going to heaven? And if your soul is intangible, how can it burn? You see, things like this.
Gotcha. Yes. Stuff that an analytical mind will question.
Right.
But when you're steeped into the indoctrination, you just put the blinders on and just go.
So it was that. So then I tried Rastafarianism for a while. And by a while, I mean less than a year, because I saw, oh, this is just Christianity in another form. Okay, got it. Moving on. Then at one point, my master's was almost in comparative religion. I've been wanting to understand this religion thing for a long time. So that was in my 20s, but then I ended up getting a master's in education instead. But even at one point I was thinking about Christian education, but I was like, no. So then it was, I basically, when I moved out from home, stopped going to church. But what had happened was, right. I got pregnant and I saw myself, I was getting ready to be a single mother because I realized, okay, this relationship is not going to work. And so at that point, I said, okay, Sheron, you're doing something wrong because this is not where you were supposed to be at this time. There were other things going on in my life as well besides being pregnant. So I said, well, maybe, what did I do? I fell back on all the things that I heard. Maybe I need Jesus. Right. So then that's when I got really into the church and got baptized. And I opened the church. I closed the church, like not literally, but almost.
No, literally. I got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
I was at all the singles ministries stuff. I was even in MIT. Do you know what MIT is? Okay. I'll say for people who don't know.
Yeah, what is it? The Mechanical Institute?
Ministers in training. No.
Okay, a different MIT.
MIT. I was in the ministers in training. I was worship leader. Let me tell you, I was group leader when we had those small groups. Look, I did it. I was in it. You understand? Because when I decide I'm in something, I'm in it. But it was around. Oh yeah. It was around 2000. It wasn't around. It was 2005. And at the time, I had been attending New Birth Missionary Baptist Church before all the Eddie Long drama, years before all the drama. And I was doing everything, all the things, whatever, they say do, I was doing it. And, altar call, I'm up there crying, laying prostrate, everything.
Mm-hmm.
And I started noticing, like, how come every Sunday with altar call, no matter what is taught, it's the same people up there crying? And I thought, months had gone by, and I'm like, your problem not solved yet?
Right.
And so a friend of mine and I, who I met at the church, we started having these conversations. It's like, we say we probably met each other so that we could be Thelma and Louise and jump off the cliff and leave church together, because that's exactly what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember it was one day I had bought a house. When I say to you, in walking distance from the church, that's how much I was into my church. I bought a house in walking distance from the church.
Wow.
And one day I was in that kitchen and I said, this don't make no sense. I'm doing everything that the pastor says to do. And it seems like the only person this stuff is working for is the pastor. That was my thinking. And I said, God, I don't want to hear from another man. If you are real, you got to come down and tell me yourself. I don't want to hear from Paul. I don't want to hear from John. I don't want to hear from Peter. I don't want to hear from Moses. I don't want to hear from nobody but you. And that's what started my journey that day in the kitchen.
Okay. Wow. That kitchen just did, and you cooked up some other stuff.
Yes, for sure.
So once you got to that point, then what did you do next? What did you start to search for? What did you and after? Because I know when that thing finally hit me, I never went to another religion, because it's just like, I don't know, I guess even still it was like I would have been cheating on Jesus or something. I don't know. I never tried another religion.
Okay.
But I did become atheist. I was just like, you know what? This stuff and this God, I don't like him, And so, I just said, forget it, Yeah. And but I did start my search in different things. How did you start your search? What did you start looking for? Atheism was the next step for me.
It wasn't for me. I always felt there was something more. I just didn't know what the more was. Okay, I know you're not going to judge me. People listening out there, don't judge me. My first thing was,
even if they do, she don't give a damn. So now, let's go.
How about that? My first thing was, I'm going to test this out. I'm going to stop tithing and see what happened. Right? Nothing happened. Nothing.
Right.
I was fine. I was like, okay, I'm going to test this other thing out. I'm going to have sex.
Oh. Stop it. Wait a minute. I'm going to go have some fun. Let's test that out.
And nothing happened. And I said, okay. So
you mean with the sex or just?
Well, the sex was fine. As far as being struck down and stuff like that.
Right. Got you.
Or my life was going to be in shambles. Nothing like that happened. So I said, okay. So then it was like, okay, so all that was, I started to internalize that all what I was learning was garbage. I was still reading the Bible though, because I always felt that the Bibles represented archetypes that I could learn from. So I still always went, if I was going through something in life, I would say, what story in the Bible represents what I'm going through? And then I would go to that story and study it and then see my way through my challenge. And even to this day, I think, okay, what story in the Bible matches what I'm seeing right now?
Yeah. And that's actually a more empowered way to look at it too, because that's really what they are. That's what they were supposed to be.
Stories to help you.
Archetypes.
Right. Archetypes. So, I mean, like I said, it was years. At one point I dabbled a little with Judaism from Afrocentric perspective, the whole Hebrew thing. And I'm like, this is church too. Because then it was all these rules. Don't do that. I'm like, no more rules.
Right.
And then as the years went on, so the Secret came out, like what? 2006. Okay, 6.
2006, yeah.
So I said, okay, this is good. But and I latched onto it, but I still felt like there was something missing.
Yeah, same
But
here.
I knew there was some truth there. So I got into a lot of reading. Bruce Lipton, Greg Braden, Wallace Waddles, Neville Goddard. I mean, a lot of reading. And then at one point I found Reverend Ike, but then I backed away because it felt uncomfortable, right? But now I love me some Reverend Ike.
Right.
So that happened. And then I'm going to fast forward to, it was 2019. So now picture this journey of reading and practicing, applying what I'm reading and seeing some results, but then but wait, and I say, but wait, and pull back because I just felt something was still missing. Anyway, so now fast forward to 2019, and I had left education. I gave up everything, where I lived, everything in my kitchen, everything in my house, everything. And I moved to another state. I had a friend who had just gotten a job, and she kept in a school, like starting an independent school. And she kept asking me if I would just come and be a consultant. And I was like, girl, I'm done with this K-12 stuff. She's like, please come and be a consultant. We need somebody to write a spiritual, a mindfulness curriculum. I said, oh, okay. So I said, sure. So I went down to Miami to meet with them. And 2 days later, she called me. She said, Sheron, are you interested in going on a trip to India? Yeah, but I'm not working. And she's like, oh, you don't have to pay for it. You don't have to worry about that.
Abundance.
Oh, well, when we leave? When is this trip? Oh, it's next week. Oh, okay.
Hey, family. This is Reginald Kuakaru, founder of Kemetic Centered Living. I hope that you're enjoying this wonderful interview. It gets even better towards the end, but I just wanted to step in here and tell you about the new Kemetic Centered Living community. Is going to be based around education and classes and courses and content that basically helps a person get over negative religious programming. But it's also going to have a component of support. So looking at peer support from each other, coaching, different things. So because a lot of people talk about that they just feel so lonesome, or they feel like they're on this journey alone. And I want to create this community where there is positive people that are supporting each other. So if it's something that you think that you would be interested in, get on the wait list to be notified when the registration is open. And you can go to jointhekclfamily.com. And you can go there, put in your email address, and then when registration is open, then we can send you more information about the community. So hope to see you inside. Bye.
A lot of what was learned, I see now, is connected to Kemetic principles. And I remember around that time, I don't remember who said it. It's Satguru, somebody said it, but the person said, India's gift to the world is spirituality. And I remember thinking, oh, that's an interesting thing to say. But now that the door to Kemeticism, Kemetic spirituality has opened up for me, I realize I see it as, oh, they helped to preserve these truths and give them back to us so we could reconnect. But even with that, I remember sitting there thinking, I think this stuff came from Africa, but I had no evidence of that.
Felt like something was connected to Africa.
Yes.
What did that cause you to do? So, and how did that end up connecting you to Kemetic Centered Living?
Well, it still didn't connect me immediately. I came back and did research. I'm also a trained yoga instructor. So even that, I feel like this comes from Africa. And again, no evidence. And at the time when I did online searches, very difficult. Now when I search, I'm seeing more information on it. In 2019, it was hard to find anything. It was, I'm going to say, maybe 3 months ago. So now I'm getting to how I found KCL.
Okay.
3 months ago, or 2, I was driving, and then I said, what is living my best life? Because that is a saying I don't like, because it's like, how you know what your best life is? And so I said, am I allowing my soul to express in the world the way it came here to express? I was like, because if I did that, I think that would be living my best life.
Mm-hmm.
So then I ended up talking to a friend, and I shared with her. I wasn't going to share my car story with anyone, but I shared it with her. And she was also asking herself a related question.
Okay.
So I said, oh my God, it's like, I'm so glad I shared with you. And so then, since we both had this question, what do? I go on Google, because I'm thinking somebody on Google may have asked it also. And so doing that, Googling that question, led me to a YouTube video that I don't even remember at this point what that video was. And then it led to another video. But every time I kept seeing this man down, you know how YouTube shows you other videos that you could watch?
Mm-hmm.
I kept seeing this man. And after a while, I said, what he talking about? And I clicked on it. It was you. And then once I clicked on it, it was a wrap. I was like, he must have a website. Okay, Kemetic Centered Living. Okay, this is YouTube page. Okay, let me search this on Google. I found your website, and that was it. I saw your class. I'm like, I don't know if this class is live or not. I don't know if this link is still working, but if it's not, then I'll just ask my money back. And I just signed up so I could get in and see what else you had. So that's how I got to KCL.
Gotcha. So once you started watching the videos, what was it about the information that I was sharing through KCL that really attracted you? So what was it about it?
It filled that gap for me, the one where I kept saying, you know, all this law of attraction and law of this and law of that, and all the people that are out there, I love them. I love Greg Braden. I love Bruce Lipton. I love all the talk of spirituality that's out there. But it was like, what is this grounded in? It
Mm-hmm.
wasn't grounded in anything for me. And so I wish I remember the first video I watched with you. I don't, because I've watched so many at this time. But I just remember thinking, oh my God, this is where all that stuff that all those spiritual teachers are out there teaching, this is where it came from. And so just having it grounded in a source, not just talking about law of attraction and if you think and if you imagine, but grounding it in a source, it just made it more real for me.
Yeah. No, and it was the same for me when I first discovered these ideas and Kemeticism. First of all, there just wasn't a whole lot that people talking about it even connected, like law of attraction and stuff like that. Nobody had really made that connection that I knew of. And what made me even consider that it was African was when in The Secret, Rhonda Byrne alluded to the Greeks knew the secret. Okay.
Go back and catch that part.
Yeah, it's just all it is just they don't talk about it. They just show them like the Greeks holding a scroll or something. It's like just a quick little like image that she shows, you know. So they don't talk about it.
You were supposed to catch that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but when I saw that image, well, I knew where the Greeks got their knowledge. Because the Greeks had no knowledge in anything. They were called the Greek miracle because they just like all of a sudden flourished out of like nothing. To building these monuments, these buildings and everything, they were called the Greek miracle. Well, it was a miracle because they learned the information from their African, from the Africans. And I knew that from studies that I had. So when she alluded to them, something just went, wait a minute. You know, and I started to go on research because I'm one of those people. I'm the same as you. I got to know, where is this grounded? Where is it coming from? Right. You know, it's just out there. I love the law of attraction stuff. Yeah. You know, and that was really my start into metaphysics in 2006. Mm-hmm. So I studied from 2006 to on. I studied metaphysical stuff before it was probably 8 or 9 years before I came across the Kemetic stuff. And then that's when I was able to trace where all of it came from. And because I have the metaphysical background, I'm able to connect the dots and able to teach a lot of the other stuff that people just didn't know. Because I got mainly history facts and stuff like that. Well, we needed more than history facts as a people, you know, and I love history. I do. But where we were just getting knowledge and information, we needed to focus on transformation.
Right.
And that's really where it's been for me for a long time with KCL. And I'm just now getting to a point to where I'm able to like communicate that, you know, to what this is about. So when someone like yourself comes and you know, and you discover what's happening, and then it really lights you up like it has. That's like, for me, just, it's amazing and wonderful. I love it. Beautiful. I love it. Beautiful. Yeah. So it's been definitely a labor of love, you know, and I want to say thank you for, you know, who you have been and who you have shown up to be in this community. It is absolutely marvelous. And everybody so appreciates you. I mean, it's like, I can feel people's energy, you know, you know, I can connect to the energy, and a lot of people might not realize, but we don't have to, when it comes to energy, it's not localized. We don't have to be local to really connect to people, you know, energetically. So, and I've heard other people say the same thing. They love your energy, just how you present yourself on the message boards and stuff like that. It's just wonderful. So I want to say thank you for being you and bringing who you are to our community. And I'm looking forward to evolving this thing and really growing it too. And I'm betting and I'm hoping that you're going to be a big part of that. So
well, let me tell you this. I'm gonna look. I made up a number in my head this morning. I don't know why the number doesn't matter, but I was like, I'm going to be as active as I can till he gets to 10,000. Now, not that when you get to 10,000, I'm gonna stop. But why was I saying that? Why was I saying that? Because I thought about, so here's what I didn't say in my story. When I did say, you know, with that day in the kitchen, then what came over me was fear, because I wasn't saying I was an atheist, but I was also saying I don't believe there's a white, gray-haired, bearded man in the sky watching over me and who answers all my prayers. So I said, okay, so if I don't believe that, then what do I believe? And does that mean I'm just out here by myself? And I was scared because before you have this paternal entity out there watching over everything. And then when you put that to the side, it's like, so now what? So
and you even have a community and everything. Everybody's wrapped up into the same beliefs. Everything's, you know, all these people that you can go to, and then all of a sudden, bloop.
I just have my one Thelma and Louise friend, and me and her in my house just talking to each other and watching The Matrix like 50 gazillion times. Like, you see, that's like that's how we watch The Matrix. So now that's
right.
But the reason why I'm so excited is because I know how important this type of community is, because I didn't have it. Like I fumbled my way through. I'm not gonna say fumble. I was led, I was guided, and I got to where I was. But I see how, man, if I had that, I would have probably cut my learning time in half, maybe even less than half. And so I really see the need for this. And I also have to say, no shade to any other organization that puts Kemetic stuff out there. But since I discovered you, since I found you, I've searched, and there are others, you know, doing Kemetic stuff. And I'm like, what? I gotta apply. And I look at this stuff like, this look like church. And it's like, no, we don't need another church. We need, you know, even when I first heard you say prime the pump, I said, is that like, Is that like offering?
Is that like what?
Offering? Like paying your tithes and offering.
Yeah.
But then I realized, like, no, it's not. This is not that. This is not another church. This is a place to come to get knowledge and then learn how to apply the knowledge to your life. And if what you're receiving is valuable, you engage in an energy exchange.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. It's not just about information, it's about transformation. Because we've been in a place where, and I mean, I've been around this knowledge and stuff for a long time. And I've seen people talk about spread knowledge. But then you spread knowledge and the communities, I won't even say communities, the neighborhoods stay the same.
Mm-hmm.
No, there's no upliftment, nothing changes, nobody does anything different, but we got a lot of knowledge. Mm-hmm. And to me, it's not about the knowledge that you gain, it's about the knowledge that you can apply. Mm-hmm. And that's what everything I do in this community is built on. It is about learning something that you can apply and transform your freaking life from doing whatever it is that you were doing that wasn't satisfactory. How can you transform and, like you say, live your best life? I like to say, live life on your terms, without free of guilt and shame.
That's right. Without guilt or shame. That's my line right there. I love that part. Yes.
Live it boldly, authentically, unapologetically, and do that without guilt or shame, because that's even when we get out of Christianity, we still have these programs running that if we do something for ourselves, it's selfish and we shouldn't do anything for ourselves. No, that should be the first thing you should learn, is that when you're happy, then you can spread that energy around to everybody else. When you're taking care of you and you're abundant, then you got more that you can give. You cannot give from an empty vessel. And so many people have this thought process that it ends up draining them.
You also have the guilt or shame because of your family, right? And so here you are wanting to walk away from what is the identity of our society, basically. And it's definitely the identity of the family or the tribe you come from. And you don't have anybody to talk to. And so, the devil gonna get you, Satan, the devil is busy, all the things. And so what I think is that coming to KCL not only gives you the information that empowers you, but it's that knowing, even before you get to the transformation part, it's that knowing that strengthens you to get to the place of, oh, really, without guilt or shame, because I'm not crazy. Right. I get to see how many people are really in the programming, as going back to the matrix, how many people are in the matrix. And then once you start to apply, then that strengthens you even more to say, I know what I'm talking about. So all of y'all could, you could call me a devil or Satan or whatever you want to call me. I'm
exactly.
Fine. I still love you.
Exactly. Because then you have a foundation of knowledge and information that is trusted, a foundation that what the truth is. It's not just a superstitious, like, oh, I believe. No, right. Right. And from the center of your being.
Because Christianity was given to the African to subdue him.
Yeah.
So if that was given to the African to subdue him, what was happening before? And so that alone to me should make people say, let me open up a little bit and see what they're talking about.
Yeah, but you're talking about being analytical.
Okay.
When there is no analysis. When you believe on faith, there is no analysis. It shuts it down.
That's true.
And that's what it's designed to do.
I also had additional knowledge. Remember, I said I started on my master's in comparative religion. So I did have additional knowledge about Christianity and how it was created, how the Bible was created. So that was also already there. Yeah.
Yeah. And then that's a level of knowledge most people don't even go to. Don't even go to. So yeah, so I know, and those were things. I didn't do a degree in comparative religion, but in school I started studying it because I read the autobiography of Malcolm X. I started studying religion comparatively, and you start to learn stuff about religion that you're just not taught. We make the assumption that as Christians, we made the assumption that Christianity came just like it was today. It came out the box that way. It just popped up and this is what it was. No, that ain't the case. People developed it and they made stuff up as they went along. And most people don't, they have no idea. And if you just take it on faith, you don't question nothing.
Right.
So that's it. So, well, cool beans. Well, hey, Sharon, I don't want to hold you for forever. I know we could probably just keep talking, yeah. but I know you got work to do. I got work to do.
Yes.
But this has been immensely enjoyable. So thank you for taking the time to do this. I really appreciate it. The family, y'all that are out there, let her know in the comments. Let her know that you appreciate her and what she had to say, because she brought some good stuff here today. So it's definitely appreciative.
Thank you so much for even asking to interview me and allowing me to speak. And thank you for your work and what you're doing. When I said earlier about allowing your soul to fully express, I believe that yours is doing just that.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm having a ball. Even when the Christians call me Satan and the Antichrist, I'm having a ball.
Oh God. Okay, God. You God. Okay. You already know that. I don't have to tell you.
Right. All right. Well, hey, man. Well, you have an amazing day, and we will see you inside.
Yes, indeed.
All right.